45 days ago, I first made a video saying I was going to be selling my NES collection, and finally, this past weekend, the first results are in, the games are finally auctioning, and it is super exciting seeing the results come in, even though some of them definitely hurt. On the bright side, some of the sales are also far exceeding what I thought they would do, so in the end, it's going to even out, but it's really funny how we're going to get to that even out spot. There's just extremes on both sides, and when we're talking about complete in-box NES games, or Super Nintendo, or Game Boy, or anything where cardboard is involved and there's high levels of conditional nuance, price charting averages just becomes almost useless. And I made a whole video before talking about price charts and its limitations when we talk about stuff like this, but now I have some real data to show you guys about how extreme the differences can be when you actually sell something versus what price chart says. So say thank you to every single patron who helps support the channel as well as the YouTube members. I can't do this without you guys. Hit the like button and let's look at the first results of the auctions. This first column shows what the game sold for on eBay plus shipping. The column right beside it is what price chart says it should sell for. This column shows the difference. This column over here is the actual amount of money I get after all the fees and stuff are taken away. And the last column shows how much less or how much more I got versus the price starting price. So the first game on the list here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Complete in box, Mickey's Safari and Letterland. My notes say here it has a really bad box with a nice cartridge and manual. Price chart says the average complete in box should sell for $153. Mine sold for $64. 58% less than what price charting says. And if we look at the eBay listing here, right, you can see that this box is in pretty rough condition basically everywhere. Like, this box is worn. There's really no other word you can use to describe it. Both tabs are even ripped off, right? So when we talk about complete in box stuff, the box is going to drive the value, probably 70-80% in some instances. So when price chart says 153 and your box looks like that, it's absolutely irrelevant. After all the fees and stuff get taken out of that as well, I'm getting 73% less than what price chart says. Now, obviously, in a vacuum, that hurts to look at, right? It's like, oh my god, price chart says 153 and I'm only getting 42 bucks for it? Like, oh man, that sucks. But this is an actual real look at what happens when we start talking about this stuff that has a lot of conditional nuance. And this also raises the point that so many people just fixate on the price it sells for, right? So $64 as a sale price, but I'm only netting 42 of that after eBay fees, consignment fees, all that stuff. I'm only getting $42. If you live in a place that is so populous or so booming with retro video games that you can sell stuff even close to what eBay averages are, to what price charting averages are, you are in an amazing situation. Like, obviously we go down to some games that just aren't desirable at all. Like, we have Wheel of Fortune, right? $14 with shipping. Twin Eagle was 25 bucks. Mystery Quest was 22. I'm walking away with $2 on Wheel of Fortune, $11 on Twin Eagle, $9 on Mystery Quest. Some pitiful amounts, all things considered, but when we talk about something like Wheel of Fortune on NES, I had this listed locally for 10 bucks. 10 Canadian dollars, which is like 7 US. And obviously on eBay, it did sell for double that, so that's fantastic. I had a great price locally, but still, no one wanted to buy it. And I'm in Canada, which adds a lot of additional shipping fees, because some people are going to be thinking, oh, why didn't you just sell them yourself? Why did you consign them? Why did you ship them down to the US for someone else to sell them for you? And that's because minimum shipping in Canada to the US or even to another Canadian place is going to be about 15 US dollars. So on Twin Eagle here, I'm walking away with 57% less than what price charting says, but if I can't sell it locally anyway for say even 30-40% under price charts, there just aren't a lot of actual options that exist. So just remember, if you're going to take a collection online or eBay versus selling it locally, always factor in what your shipping costs going to be, what are your fees going to be, everything else like that, because you might be in a much better spot where you can just list your stuff locally for a massive discount, but you'll still actually net a higher amount versus taking it to eBay or shipping it somewhere. Always consider your net amount far more than just the gross amount someone else pays. And then we get into some of the extreme sales, and these are the sales within any collection that is going to make up the bulk of the value. And these are items as well where price chart is going to be grossly inaccurate. We have a couple of box onlys here, right? 3D World Runner, solid box overall. Price chart says it should cost $28 for a hang tab box. It sold for $65, which is 131% higher, and the most extreme sale so far out of the first group of stuff was the Battletoads box only. So this is, by all accounts, a beautiful box for Battletoads, right? Near mint condition. This is the type of stuff that price charts will never be able to accurately account for, and you actually have to look at eBay or just run an open auction because people are going to be climbing over themselves to buy stuff like this. It sold for 193 US dollars, and all of the stuff you see here is confirmed paid for. before. I did want to wait until everything was paid before I made this video. If you were to look at price charts, it would say $67 for a Battletoads box. So even after everything, the fees, all that stuff, I'm still walking away with 122% more than price charting. So seriously, if you have something vintage in your collection, complete in box, NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, any of that stuff, and the condition is exceptional, just ignore price charts. Throw it out. It doesn't mean anything. It's the exact same way that if you have awful condition stuff, you're also not going to get what price charting says. Another really solid one was actually this Canadian Mario Bros box here. It's bilingual on the back, has the red stripe at the top. I didn't really know what to expect out of it, especially because it has all of this ripping on the back of the box, but it still went for $45 with shipping. Not too shabby at all. Here's another one that's kind of a testament to my own local situation. I had this box listed locally for 10 Canadian dollars, about 7 US, and I had it listed for probably 2 years and nobody wanted to buy it. And you can see this box is in awful condition, all things considered. Of course no one wanted to buy it, right? But you chuck up the auction on eBay and someone pays over 20 US for it. And even though I'm only walking away with $8 on the sale, that's still more than I could ever get locally for it. And price charting is still saying that I'm walking away with 62% less than I should be. Luckily, right under it, we also have a beautiful Goonies 2 No Rev A first print box that went for $120, $150. This is another one that exceeded price charts by almost 3 times the amount, and you can see this is a really nice Goonies 2 box here. I was expecting big things, and it did big things. In the end, for the whole collection, I might walk away with like 60-70% of the entire price charting value, but that's going to be some stuff selling for like 80% less than price charting, and some stuff selling for like 200% more. Actually watching all of these sales take place and then comparing it back to price charting is super interesting. Like this cartridge here, because price charting doesn't account for the black cartridge variant, sold for 188% more than what price charting says. That's the actual knowledge that goes into game collecting, game selling, game buying. A ton of people complain that like, oh, thanks to price chart, now people know too much and stuff. If you're still only referencing price charting for stuff when it comes to vintage, comes to box stuff, to be frank, you kinda don't know anything. And here are the extremes on either side, making that nice average. Like I said, I'm only actually off the price charting averages by 18%. Once this is all done, I'll have the full number of what I sold my NES collection for versus what price charting says versus what I actually got after fees, shipping, everything. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.